what form do you see the first skill games taking? There are already simulations. There's kind of the beginnings of them out on the floor now with simulations of 80s arcade games that employ an element of skill in bonus events. What forms are the new games going to take? Candy Crunch, competitive video shooter games? What do you see coming?
It's going to be a mix. I mean, if you look at how, like, let's look to the video games industry, or whether it's console or mobile. It's all over the map what people like to play. So it's a lot of different genres. Some skew more male, some more female. It depends. So you're going to need quite a mix. Yeah, someday Candy Crush will probably be on a casino floor. I wouldn't be surprised. When? Who knows? But that's a match 3 game. There's lots of it's a king of the match 3s, right? But some people don't even prefer that match 3. There's other games like they ate Bejeweled Lunch, right? That was that was the hot match 3 game. So these things do change. There's going to be a lot of turn. You know, if you look at like a Dave and Buster's model, which is a very successful setup, they 150 games or more in a location, and they turn 10% a year. That's a lot of content. But that's what the video game industry does itself. It's slower in console because it costs so much to make those titles. But so I think it's going to be a mix. You're going to have some people that want to play first-person shooter, console, AAA console games. Those things tend to run to a younger group. By the time you get into your later 20s, it's like a lighter engagement, fast, like casual mobile games, or you're in and out of the game, and it's like kind of more engaging, quick mechanic. So I think it's just going to be a variety of things, and there are going to be things that look very much like arcade games, clearly. And just, I think it's going to require several types, because you don't really know exactly who's going to want to play.
Any ideas coming to you on the regulatory side with respect to this?
The exciting part is that we don't know. We don't know what's going to be popular tomorrow, you know, and it's exciting to see what's, you know, the kinds of things that are coming through the lab. And we're seeing all those things that you mentioned: strategy games, you know, first-person shooter games, racing games. You know, skill kind of opens up the door to all these possibilities, and truthfully, it's hard to predict what will be popular. In my opinion, I think that the younger demographic will be into games that have more of a sort of a social impact. You know, you're all sitting around a table, kind of working on as a team, or you're integrating with you know, with your friends, whether they're there or not, maybe with the posting of high scores, or you know, public sharing of progress, things like that. I just suspect that will be popular. But generally, I think all those things on your list are going to see the light of day.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot. We've had so much dialogue. I agree. There's so many ideas, and sort of great ideas, and others just scratch your head when you walk out of the room talking to the folks. But at the end, it's a business decision by the person who's developing the product, and whether or not it's going to be successful, whether it's going to be inside a casino or possibly on the internet. I mean, we have clearly opportunity in New Jersey to have skill-based games issued through the internet also, and we're prepared to work with just about anybody. And as pretty much everybody knows, and we have a special program for, it's just called New Jersey First, where we essentially guarantee that we will review your product and have it ready for approval or denial within a very short period of time, 15 days. And you know, we're the regulators, but we stand ready and willing to see what comes in the door, and God knows what. If I have another Faust fruit shooting contest to worry about, I can tell you we got good regs to cover that, and we can do it again.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could just revert for a moment to your question on skill and fairness. Right? So technically, there's nothing fair about skill. I mean, the rules should be uniform, but people will walk up and down that ladder. That's what it's all about. When you look at the Nevada SB 9 bill, that I'm sure everybody's familiar with, it talks about identifiers, right? So identifiers are going to be all kinds of things. One is the skill of a player relative to one another, or to just overall against the challenge. You could be, whether you're a platinum club level player or a non-carded player. Like, So what it says is, you know, there's fairness and uniformity within those groups, but you can technically discriminate how money happens among those groups, right? And that's the whole idea here, is that, you know, you can offer a much richer experience if you're not worried about a uniform thing for everybody. And obviously skill gaming will never be that way. And another point Dave made is very, very important, which is true skill gaming, if it's really just about awarding the very best, that's not a mass market product. That's what, look at poker, why it's successful, right? The RNG of the deck, it's a hybrid game. Hybrid games are probably mostly where it's at, and that is, you gotta have enough chance in there so that everybody gets a shot at some point, or you will not have a mass market, you know, product. And so hybrid games, I really believe, are probably the biggest, most successful games going forward.
However, one thing you have on the slot side that you don't have on the table side is a minimum RTP for each jurisdiction. How does that figure into a skill-based game?
It's a great question. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of discussions on the table about that very topic right now. When we're talking about that, there's some extremely conservative models that are on the table, and some that are not. The most conservative that we've seen contemplate this idea of counter-optimal strategy, and which is almost an unrealistic way to play the game. It's really the worst way to play the game. You know, so it's this idea that, let's say you're talking about a skill element where you're shooting zombies. What if the player doesn't shoot the string at all, and they never kill a zombie? What would the return be? You know? And I think that's the most conservative regulatory model there. It's basically saying they're going to protect all players by regulation. Regardless of your skill level, you'll still meet their regulatory minimums. Other jurisdictions are kind of looking the complete opposite way. Let's just look at the optimal strategy, the best player, you know, and measure that against a regulatory kind of limit. And that's really just one tool in the regulator's toolbox for you know, how to protect the unskilled player. You're seeing actually models in between as well, whereas if you could show a sampling of data, maybe even out of the event like GTE, where people are actually playing these skill games, you can get an idea of where the general public is going to fall between the counter-optimal strategy and the optimal strategy. Our mathematicians in the lab can pretty easily calculate, you know, one versus the other. You can calculate optimal and calculate counter-optimal. But the real question is, where is it going to fall in between? If you have a simple skill game, trivia game that's asking the question, what color is the sky? Is it red or blue? Right? And they have, you know, only those options. Most people will get that right. And you'd see that the return is probably closer to that optimal strategy. But if instead you ask the person to solve a calculus question, well, you know, it might be a bit closer to counter, unless, of course, that machine was maybe, you know, just outside the meth lab at MIT, then maybe it's closer to optimal. So it really kind of depends on the demographic that you're dealing with. So you're seeing some regulators trying to take an approach where they get a sampling of data. They sort of say, what's the average player gonna return on this particular game? And then you're also seeing an ability to monitor afterwards. So does that all need to be calculated ahead of time, or can we now make better metrics capabilities? So once the game's actually deployed, can we audit its performance and sort of, you know, make a regulatory program to disengage games that are not performing?
Yeah, people are creative because, I mean, you return patron, I mean, ours is 83%, but the thing about it is, I think it's 75, don't quote me on that.
That's right.
But we were also concerned that, well, what happens if you fall below that? I mean, how do you deal with that? You know, I agree, I don't think there's going to be everybody winning and you're paying out more than. So we've been talking to the industry, well, what about options after play is almost completed, like you said, to then create a bonus round or some other option to drive the payback above the minimum threshold, so you don't fall, in our case, below 83. And I think the industry has some creative ideas to do that, so that, you know, if that happens, because you don't want it to happen, nobody wants it to happen, how do you make an adjustment in time to bring it above the threshold?
Do you think?
And you know, it's that innovation. We don't have all the answers. I can assure you we understand the problem. But
do you think minimum RTP rules are going to end up being significantly altered to accommodate skill games? I mean, the RTP is meant as a measurement of all players of the machine, right?
Yeah, we did not, and it's a great topic to discuss amongst the regulated community, because I understand the impact it has on the gaming product development community. again, it's some states are going to have a hard time changing jurisdictions because you're going to have to change your law.
Okay, Eric, this is a question for you. Your motto at Gamblit is where gaming meets gambling. And what you've said in the past is this is definitely going to be more of a mobile activity than a machine-based activity. And, you know, definitely mobile gaming is going to be a big part of skill-based gaming. How is this going to change the slot floor? Is the next generation of slot gamblers going to be walking around with their smartphones, knocking into each other? And more importantly, how are these folks going to make money from that type of game?
So that's what I said.
Yes.
I think probably what I intended or meant to say was that that the product, I think, is going to more resemble, hopefully, a mobile gaming. That's what I think. I think the arcade experience is more, so it's actually kind of the converse. I'm not sure there's any mystique in your mobile phone or your iPad. So what I do believe is it's probably going to follow more of a mobile gaming trend, right? Meaning content.
Okay.
I mean, so personally, I think it's actually there is going to be gaming machines because you can put form factors together that allow people to be more communal than everybody just on their phone. Mm-hmm. And besides, you can consume all that content you want on the phone. You're going to be competing with the iTunes and Google Play stores. Good luck with that, right? Like, I don't know how many, lost track of how many game apps are on those stores, but it's crazy. There's so much noise out there. You will never be able to get them to stay completely focused on that, on just a mobile device.